But there are a few various things that they brought in the 76 that does not really fit.
The Wise
For one,
Mothman is from 76. That's what you're saying?
yes, the Wise Mothman is from 76.
Okay. That is. I did not expect. I did not expect that.
No worries. But yeah, like I said, a few of the various creatures and items that they brought into 76 stuff that they've imported over from Fallout 4 and New Vegas and the like, and it doesn't quite fit right because of it all, because of how the storyline was for 4 and the like. That's why 76 isn't considered as canon in the Fallout universe because of it all. And more of a alternate reality or a dream or something to that degree.
Do you? That's the official stance from the company
That's
that
the
makes Fallout at this point in time.
uh not so much I think on the official stance from Bethesda itself, but that's what every single person in the community more or less thinks of because of how it was done, the lackluster in the storyline, and some of the other things, like with those creatures, for a good example. Since they added plenty of creatures in that were for a swamp area that suited and all that, like ones that were already in other Fallout games that were just general ones, but there's some very specific things, like the fog crawler, that was for set bits that do not fit. And that's where the issues arose. Um,
Is
hell.
Fallout Tactics canon?
It's considered canon, yeah. It's not really looked at too well because it was the last one that basically Interplay did prior to them going bankrupt and the like. So it wasn't the greatest work in the Fallout universe. Still a fun game, and it is considered as canon. Since after all, it's the Chicago-based bit. Uh, but a good chunk of the reason why 76 is not considered canon is because with the Atomic Shop's cosmetic items, there's a few outfits and other things in there that they added to appeal to the fans, which is cool and all. But those items on top, on sort of thing, is also what made it not. Oh, poor Tuppy. Not canon because of the designs and the like. Like for one example, there's one set of power armor known as that's based off the Liberty Prime and robot that you get to interact with within Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, which is a canon robot that is locked away underneath the Pentagon in Washington, basically pre-war. It was a weapon that was being developed that did not reach fulfillment because they couldn't quite work out some bugs. In Fallout 3, you help the Brotherhood finish repairs and get it operational to take on the Enclave. In 4, you repaired the extremely busted version of it, sort of thing, and get it operational again to verse the Institute if you decide to help the Brotherhood is still out. within 76, they decided, let's make a power armor skin based off this robot and call it Liberty Prime. So there was that. It's a cool skin and all that, and it even has voice lines from the robot, which is nice. But it's not canon. Another item. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you here, but I bring up Fallout Tactics not being canon because I've read that Todd Howard says that Fallout Tactics and Brotherhood of Steel are not. He doesn't consider them canon.
Well, the thing is, Bethesda purchased the license after all that. So they're probably considering not canon after the fact.
You were part of the group, but so that means that the people that make Fallout currently do not consider Tactics canon.
True. But the original set, which was the Interplay lot, did.
Do you consider Fallout Tactics and Brotherhood of Steel canon?
I've enjoyed them and had fun. The storylines are nice, they're unique, the creatures are cool, and all the rest. It's not as fun as what Fallout 1 and 2 are, sort of thing, because the way that the style differences. But in my opinion, it is canon.
Okay, sorry.
It's all good.
You were taking your time and I got impatient. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
I feel like the henchman was smarter than how his death portrays him.
I would have to agree with you that was a cheap way to get rid of him. But I suspect the movie was probably running long at that point, and that was basically a shortcut to get him out of the story. Because otherwise, he would have simply killed Bond when he was trying to disarm the atomic bomb inside Fort Knox. As the timer was counting down, they had to find a way to get him out of the equation. He has the hat that's lined with metal that he can use to cleave people's heads off with, sticking that in the wall next to the electrical cables, so that when he tried to retrieve it, it electrocuted him. Was about the best way to do that.
Speaking of rats, have you ever looked at a map of where rats are in the world?
No, that's a good question. I mean, there is an expression in the UK: you're never 10 foot away from a rat.
Well, if you ever do, you'll notice that there's a Alberta-shaped area in Canada where there are no rats.
There's a what, sorry?
There are no rats in Alberta.
Okay, how's that?
In the 1930s and 40s, we decided, I think it was the 1930s and 40s, we decided to keep the rats out.
Okay, so presumably extermination.
Extermination and border patrol. But we do have mountains on one side and ice fields on another side, so we only have to worry about the two sides.
Okay, so you've got like protected frontiers.
So I've never seen a rat.
You've never seen a rat?
Not in real life, no.
Okay.
They never actually came out and said it, but 007 is a position in the hierarchy, and James Bond may be a code name as opposed to the guy's actual name, which explains why it keeps turning up being different people as the decades go by.
I heard that the last movie that came out, I haven't watched it, so I might have misheard this, but I heard people talking about the last movie that came out, and they said that they played into that.
I, for one, would be interested in seeing Idris Elba play James Bond, becoming the next 007 after Craig retires. Except that he didn't retire Craig, they killed him.
Oh yeah, it's the next movie that they confirmed it for the next movie because they confirmed that there's gonna be another James Bond movie, and it's a code name. Hence why they can kill off Daniel Craig and still have a James Bond.
But I think Idris Elba could do a damn good job of being James Bond. And even the old villains from the past that knew him would be surprised finding he's somebody else. Which means they could have somebody else as 006 as well. There's a lot of potential there.
I feel like I haven't watched a lot of Bond, but out of the ones I have watched, I feel like Thunderball isn't that good of a Bond movie.
You didn't like Thunderball?
That's the one that takes place on the island, right?
Yes.
I felt it was very campy for a Bond movie.
And by campy, you mean it's been done to death?
No, give me a sec. Maybe I can figure out a better way to describe it, but not done to death.
Well, the plot was they were stealing a nuclear weapon and using it to blackmail NATO with. And there's been a slew of movies where a terrorist or some madman or somebody with a bone to pick against the government tries to steal a nuclear weapon and uses it against the powers that be. But Thunderball back in 1965 was one of the first ones to do it. It didn't follow the trend, it sort of started it.
I feel okay. I feel Thunderball's a bad movie because they exaggerated thematic and genre elements.
What do you mean by exaggerate?
If I recall correctly, one of the henchmen dies from getting inflated with air, which seems it seems like Thunderball has a totally different tone than Let Him Live and Let Die, For Your Eyes Only, License to Kill, Goldfinger. It seems the tone of it is less serious.
Some of the other agents in the scuba attack at the end of the movie were eaten by sharks, shot with spear guns. Not sure I'd call that less serious. I think maybe the way they pulled off that thing where the guy died from being overinflated, the props department may have made that out to be more comical appearance, but in reality, being impaled on the machinery like that and having the air pumped inside your body would kill you, even if they didn't do the best job in the world with portraying it on film.
Yeah, that's the whole movie feels like a James Bond spoof, I guess is the one way to put it.
Well, then again, it was 1965. It is limited by the production capacity and techniques and the materials of the day. It's like the original Star Trek. The original Star Trek was great and is still great because of the quality of the science fiction stories it tells in a lot of the episodes, not because of the budget they had for special effects or the limitations of, makeup and special effects for the 1960s when it was created. There was no CGI, and they were on a shoestring for costumes and all that. But if you overlook that, suspend your disbelief with the cardboard walls and things, the stories being told, it's like the classic Doctor Who. They were also on a shoestring budget back in the 60s and 70s, but they were telling quality science fiction stories that were supposed to inspire you to think about it and contemplate the possibilities. The same thing applies with the spy movies of the era. They can't actually kill people and they can't actually blow things up with an atomic bomb, but they can use stock footage, for example, of a nuclear bomb test.
I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm cutting in this, because I just realized we've been talking for over 20 minutes and these are supposed to be under 15 minutes because they're supposed to be coffee breaks, so I'm gonna have to figure out what to cut. But that's a future me problem.
I'd recommend cutting out all the ums, oohs, and ahs about